The online to offline play dilemma. So you want to make it out of pools at EVO, a local, a major, a regional, whatever it is. If you're someone who's historically played online and you ventured onto YouTube and saw some of these awesome tournaments and people playing in person, you might have gotten the idea, well, what if I went myself and competed? But there's an issue. In recent times, fighting games have placed a bigger emphasis on online play with better lobbies through better online connection through rollback netcode, a much better online system compared to the previous system that was used very often, which just generally didn't provide great online. This has created an environment where online gamers can truly grasp the inner workings of a fighting game at the highest level. However, there's a unique issue. There are a good amount of online players that have the capacity to perform, but just can't break through that plateau of getting out of pools. A lot of times they can even just go 0-2 despite being very high ranked in their respective online game. If you feel like you're in this spot and you're struggling with this issue, here's 5 things that you'll want to know before you play offline for the first time. Number 5, learn to love failure. The first thing you're gonna realize is that you're gonna lose. You're probably gonna lose a lot. It hurts, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. Playing offline is a different realm, and you'll find that there's a lot more variables outside of just how hot your room is, or how close you are to the screen, or if the light is on in your room. You know, smaller things now become a lot more prevalent because you're offline. And the losses will pile, but it's a necessary step, and you will grow from it. Just remember that this is a new environment. You will have to adjust. Your body will adjust, so give it time. I promise you're gonna find a lot of strength and a lot of happiness in that environment. Number 4, the online versus the offline meta. The next thing you need to realize is that the meta is absolutely different offline. That is not to say that there's some online fundamentals that won't carry you or push you really far, but gameplay elements can definitely just change when you're offline. You wanna embrace the change. You wanna acknowledge those differences, right? In fighting games and in a lot of competitive games, there's a term that generally is agreed upon called meta. In essence, a meta is a generally agreed upon strategy by the community. Strategy is considered to be the most optimal or efficient way to win and has the best performance overall at specific tasks. Some people define meta as an acronym, usually meaning most effective tactics available. So the meta online and offline are different. There's a lot of different factors to consider. The easiest one is just the fact that you're offline. The game is usually a lot faster, it runs more consistently, you can actually react in real time. The added concern of also being right next to someone. That kind of stuff really piles on, and it can really dynamically change the way you view the game. And that's why it's really important to identify that there is a meta offline and there is a meta online. They can intersect, but they won't always be exactly the same, and you got to be ready for that. Number 3, the stakes are just higher offline. You don't lose rank offline, right? When you play online and you're spamming rank queue and you're rage queuing, don't do that. I do that in League of Legends. When you're spamming and you're rage queuing, sometimes you get some dubs, and a lot of times you're just deranking, and maybe you don't care, and the next day you'll just rank back up. Maybe you got it like that, right? But offline, you don't really lose rank, right? Usually, unless there's some sort of offline statistics that people are doing for you. Bless your community locals if they do that. But most of the time, you're really just losing pride, your entry fee, if you have to go to a venue, your venue fee, and you lose the chance to practice more because you're now in a tournament, right? You're in an offline situation trying to get out of pools. So, you know, when you lose online and you lose in a rank ladder climb, you can just queue back up, but really you can't do that in tournaments. Most of the time tournaments are considered double elimination. Double elimination just means that everyone starts in what's called winner's queue, and you basically have one extra life, if you want to think of it that way. So if you lose, you get dropped into loser's bracket. Loser's bracket, you're still able to play, but after a loss there, you are out of the tournament. So the worst statistic you could have is going 0-2, which happens to a lot of people. Literally half of the people that enter will be going 0-2, just numerically speaking, right? With these types of stakes, you know, it can really weigh on you. It can feel a lot different than what you're used to, maybe in your own home or online environment. You're playing for keeps. You want to stay in the tournament as long as you can, and that means you can really only lose once. So it's a lot to think about. But just remember, you know, be mindful of these things and accept that the pressure can help mold you into a diamond player offline as well. Pressure makes diamonds. Number 2, mental damage is more relevant. This is often forgotten, but it's an element that hugely impacts the way that you interact in game. Everyone's hot shit until they get grabbed 4 times and then shimmied once in the corner, right? Street Fighter applications. It's tough, but you have to practice hard to keep your focus, right? The reality is that when you're right next to someone and you're seeing your follies in real time and someone quite literally capitalizing on them in your direct vicinity, it can weigh on you. It can be very heavy. It almost feels like a burden, right? I can't tell you how many times, I'm playing against a Filipino champ or something, one of the world's greatest, and then I drop a combo, and you can hear the crowd physically recoil and feel pain for me. They're empathetic, and you have to live and breathe that, right? If you're at a tournament, right? God forbid they put you on stream, oof, it's tough. It can be really tough. It's not the same as playing online. There is comfort in it though, right? It's a Herculean task to go ahead and put aside that mental damage and really fortify your strength, your mental, to feel strong enough to deal with all that. But I assure you, it is a very cathartic feeling. If you can overcome that, if you can take strength from it. I'm one of those players who tries not to wear headphones when I get a chance, because I love hearing the crowd. I love hearing people get excited and motivated and really interested in the whole dynamic that is fighting games, right? But maybe you're not that player. One of my good friends always puts on earphones. He'll listen to his own music. Maybe he's grinding to, the latest Sonic Adventure 2 OST, God bless. Or, to Hello Kitty Island Adventure theme song. I don't know, whatever you need, brother, whatever you need. There's different ways to handle that. But just know that offline, the mental damage is real. Every drop combo you're gonna feel. Every missed input you're gonna feel. But you can overcome that. You can become stronger. I know you can. The number one thing to remember when playing offline, the goal is to improve. The goal is not the ranking, right? The goal is not top 8, especially on your first tournament. And I would even say the goal is not to go 0-2. I know that start of the video, that's something that we wanted, something that I even stated was really, really important. The goal is growth, and the placings will be a byproduct of that improvement. Your grind here will have a much huger impact than climbing just a leaderboard, right? Online, you can mash matches, and sometimes you'll get lucky and you'll just get matched with enough good players and you'll get to the next rank, and it's a good feeling. I'm not gonna lie, I love it myself, right? I chase it sometimes too. Offline, it's really important, especially when you're entering tournaments and the stakes are a little higher and maybe you're not getting as many chances to play, right? You want to improve. Take your matches, record your footage if you can, ask to be on stream if you're comfortable enough, right? If you don't want to record it, do whatever you can to kind of really absorb as much as you can. Ask your opponent. I know it's a little tricky sometimes. It's tough to get through your own anguish of just losing a game, but I can't tell you how helpful it's been sometimes to just ask my opponent, is that move plus? Or what can I do there? Can you help me? Or what would you recommend? Or what do you think I did wrong there? Some players can really give you a good analysis, but maybe sometimes the advice isn't super great, but you have to kind of, parse through it and figure out what exactly is going to help you. I can't tell you how many times I've heard, a person asking for help and they got the help they needed in some way or another. Most people are just excited to grow, and we've all been there. So the concept of being able to help someone grow and get more excited about fighting games, there's very few people who are not about that. They will appreciate you even asking, and I guarantee it's going to be a way that you can grow. So just keep that in mind. Keep that at the forefront, that you are there to grow offline, right? Online, you're there to climb. If that's what you want to do, do that. That's an aspiration for yourself. But offline, your goal is just to grow. And as you grow, you will start getting the results you want. And just give it time. Just give it the time and love that it deserves. And you'll find appreciating and love in fighting games like I have, and how so many other people besides me have as well. And that's it. Thank you so much for listening. Let me know in the comments how your first offline tournament was, or your first offline event. I'm so interested in knowing how it went for you. Let me know if you still like these videos. These are all threads that I'm writing on Twitter, so follow me on Twitter if you have not. Of course, if you can, subscribe to the channel. Really helps out, helps me help pay my editors so they can keep doing awesome stuff like this. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great one. Hold it! I just want to give a huge shout out to my patrons. And if you want to support the House of Justice and all of the House of Justice endeavors, as well as the people behind the scenes, editors, artists, please consider supporting through the Patreon. Thank you guys so much. Without further ado, here's the rest of the outro. Take that!